Hi, this is Peter for RGB Filter, and we are here with
Camilla.
Okay, and you are an artist here at the Artist Alley at Fan Expo.
Yes, I'm here presenting my self-published work and also my paintings and my comic work.
Okay, you've got your comic Tanpopo here.
Yes, Tanpopo is my self-published book. That's all based on literature. And so what I wanted to do was something really unique with the series and something that you don't see in comics every day, and try some paneling that was really unique and tell the story of these two characters, Tanpopo and Kuro, her guide through the book, and use all the Old English to give it a different feel and a different sort of theme than I've seen in comics. So
that's quite an interesting concept. Do you want to talk about where that came from? What inspired you, particularly what inspired you to go with, I mean, you've got a very sort of anime / cyberpunk almost kind of, or perhaps steampunky inflected art style. What inspired you to go with the Old English as a running theme for the book?
Well, it all happened when I was in Vancouver and I was watching Faust at the Vancouver Opera and the Queen Elizabeth, and it was amazing. They did it in a very contemporary way, and I'd never seen an opera like that before, and I thought, wow, I've never seen comics like that either. And so I spent some time developing this story and the book, and I fell in love with the idea of using literature to tell to be the narrative for these characters. And the reason why that works as this theme is because the Old English just gives them life, like a very poetic, I don't even know, it's like it brings the characters to a different level, I think.
Kind of that arch Shakespearean kind of feel, the very romantic, almost melodramatic style, is that?
Yeah, exactly. It is very dramatic. I mean, it's literature. It's raw literature, and it's hard for people to understand literature on when they read Faust. But I've interpreted it and given it a different kind of life to it.
And you've also recently done a short-run comic for Image, Sky Pirates here, and this is Burn. Yeah. Okay, was that very different, doing Sky Pirates and Burn from doing Tanpopo?
Yeah, absolutely, because Sky Pirates is actually tied to a video game. It's a Nintendo DS game and Wii game that Big Thunder Studios is producing. And doing something like that, it's very, I guess it's traditional comics with my anime style, of course. And it was fun because I had actually created the characters for the video game, and this was really unique because I could bring them to life. Instead of just doing stills, I animated them and I took them through a journey, which was really fun. And then Burn was my first creator-owned book, so that one, it was a whole nother experience. You know, it was my first book that I brought to a publisher to get published, and that was my first time working with a team of artists and writers, which kind of was my foot in the door, I guess, in comics.
So you had the creative control very much on Burn?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Arcana Studios was fantastic. They didn't want to take anything away from me, and they just wanted me to be as creative as possible and without a lot of pressure, which is, I mean, you don't get that often in comics, and it was a great experience because of that.
And how was it going from a solo project like Tanpopo to something where you're working with a team effort like Burn?
Well, it's I work well in a team because I want everyone to be a collaborator and a creator, and so I go back and forth with the writer and I go back and forth with the colorist, and we each bring something new to it, and it's fun when you're actually in a group situation like that and you kind of riff off each other, and there's a different creative energy to it altogether.
And how did you get the team together? Who did you get to work on these projects? How did you find them, and what it was about their work that got you interested in getting them on board?
Well, the writer Josh Wagner for Sky Pirates, I had met him at a New York Comic Con, I think is when I met him, and he has this fantastic sense of writing, and I'd read his books, and I thought he was so adventurous and so whimsical, and so I thought he'd be perfect for the story. And Simon Bork is a colorist that I had met years ago at Comic Con, And again, his style was fresh. It was like very colorful, very powerful, and that all helped to inspire this sort of wild world of Sky Pirates. And Burn was another situation where I worked with a writer for the first time. I'd met him, Scott Sanders. We're fantastic friends now, and he was great because I could bring the concept of Burn, but I couldn't bring it to life. I couldn't come up with a narrative. I just can't I can't create dialogue. I'm unfortunately inept at it. So he really helped me with that. And then the toning, I did part of the toning, and the other toner was, she brought something else to the project too. But all in all, it was actually really nice to be able to work with several people.
And you mentioned to Sky Pirates. It sounds like you again had a lot of control there. Now that was done for a video game for the Nintendo DS. You said. So was it surprising to you that the studio, that they gave you so much control over that project?
Well, no. You see, because the editor was actually the creator of the video game, and it's he loved having the team be very creative, but he was also very much part of it, and he actually was one of the best editors I've had because he'd come back and give me a lot of notes and changes, and it made me a better artist because I had somebody, kind of refining my skills, and he refined everybody's. I felt I think that with his input and his critiques, it really helped get us to a different level with the art.
Okay, now you've also recently done a project with Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
brought you on to do a still image. Do you want to talk about that?
That's right. It was for the Neverwhere series, and this is it. This was from the story How to Talk to Girls at Parties, and it's interesting because the Neil Gaiman, normally he doesn't pick a story to be illustrated. He lets the artist he approaches choose. But in this case, they really liked my girls, and so they had a very specific idea, and they brought this story to me, and I thought, yeah, of course, I'd love to illustrate. It was a fantastic short story, so I thought it was a wonderful project. Like Neil Gaiman, to work with him and be associated with him was just I couldn't believe it. I almost passed out when I heard about it. They're like, "Do you want to work with Neil?" I'm like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
And was he very easy to work with? Was that what kind of experience was that?
Well, I worked with his assistant, so through him, or through her, I should say, through Kat, it was a phenomenal experience. He had a lot of input, like he wanted the words in the background, and he helped me decide on the colors because, unfortunately, when it comes to digital, you have many different variations you can come up with. So he actually had the final say, and in that sense, I felt it was really collaboration at that point because he gave me some input, and so it was a team effort even then.
It sounds like it was very exciting.
Yeah.
So, if people want to check out your work, is there a website where people can go?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to CamillaDorico.com and check out my site there. And I've got Twitter, Facebook, DeviantArt, all sorts of things, Behance.
Okay. Thanks, Camilla. Thank you for your time, and check it out.